Hello, everyone. This is Volley Media, Voice of Liberty International Media, and I'm coming to you today from Abuja. It is Wednesday, the 16th of June, 2021, and my name is Ndidi Uwechwe. Volley Media is the voice of every ethnic nationality in the lower Niger block. And today I am bringing you what I hope is a message of hope, trust, and truth. Today's topic is the foundation of Nigeria, which are the three legs: ignorance, fear, and military terrorism. The source of my material is a Ninas video, and I've actually put the link on the Volley Facebook page. And it's titled, Revealing the Truth Behind the Lies of the Nigerian Amalgamation. And it was recorded on the 29th of May this year. It's about 20 minutes long. It's important that for anything we look at the foundation. If, let's say, you're going somewhere, let's say in a market, and you see a stall and it looks a bit rickety, it doesn't look safe, you may say, the foundation of this does not look safe. I don't want it to collapse on me. So the foundation of things are very important. It is what something is built on. So some people say that the foundation of Nigeria, the Nigerian system, is a kind of a witchcraft, because what we see is that it is definitely anti-people. So many people want to leave Nigeria. So many people have left it. And those who do leave, they do okay when they're outside. So there's something wrong with the foundation of Nigeria. And we're actually looking at it in relation to the lower Niger block people. So we need a basic understanding. We don't need to have a deep one like a professional, but a basic one. So if, for instance, you're not feeling well and you go to the doctor has a lot more knowledge than you if you're not a doctor yourself. And then the doctor says, that your problem is the things that you're eating. You're eating the wrong food, plus you need to have exercise. So he's given you the foundation of your health problems. You don't need to know too much more than that. You just need to know that it's to do with what you're eating, your diet, and it's to do with lack of exercise. The doctor himself will have more information, but all you need is that basic knowledge of the foundation of your problem. So that's why today we are discussing why things are not working well for us. In fact, they're not working at all for us in the lower Niger block. And so many of our people are found outside Nigeria, whether in other parts of Africa, in Asia, or in Europe. So the foundation of Nigeria, it dates back even before amalgamation. Lower Niger Congress, they've been doing a lot of research over the past 21 years or so. So they went into the British archives and they were able to find some documents that told them what the foundation of Nigeria is. And I'm using that material that they got. And this information was concealed to our forefathers before independence. So our forefathers didn't know. We know it now. And we're pretty sure that had our forefathers known, they wouldn't have gone into the Nigeria that we had at independence. What these documents show is that Nigeria was never made to work for the indigenous people. It was always supposed to be a conquest, a colonial conquest, whether by white foreigners or black foreigners, but always to be a conquest. So it was never about nation building. Sometimes you hear about programs for nation building. In fact, I developed my own program of nation building. At the time, I didn't know that the 1999 Constitution was a forgery, because I knew that, if I'd known that, it wouldn't work, because you have to first of all, get a proper foundation for any nation building. So what happened was that, of course, we had the slavery days and all, but slavery ended in about 1807. Well, the British ended slavery in the British territories in about 1807. And after that, the British then came to Africa, this time wanting to trade, wanting to get resources that would help Britain. So they started with trading treaties. They would make treaties with the kingdoms that were near the coast because they came by sea. Then as they moved up, because they then explored to see what else is there that they could benefit from. So as time went on, those trading treaties that was really for commerce, they then changed to protection treaties because they had weapons and they had superior technology. So it was like they were there to protect the various kingdoms and the various nations from whoever might be attacking them. So that's more or less the foundation. Now, another group of foreigners came, and these were the Fulani, just that they're Black. They call themselves Arabs, but I'm talking about their skin color, that the rest of the world would see them. So they came by jihad in 1804, and they went to the Hausa kingdoms and they defeated them, and they started a caliphate in Sokoto. They actually changed the name from Gobir to Sokoto. So the Fulani, they also then thought, oh, let's see what else is on this land that they could benefit from. So you've got the British coming from the south, and then you've got the Fulani coming from the north, going southwards, while the British were going northwards. So as they're moving, the Fulani and the British, they met sort of like in the Ilorin and Benue axis in what is today's Middle Belt. And they recognized themselves as wanting the same thing, i.e. two groups of foreigners who wanted to do well for themselves using the resources of other people. So they decided to go into joint venture and to share the proceeds of the conquered territory of Nigeria. So this was the thinking behind what we call amalgamation. Normally, amalgamation would be like a marriage. You know, a man needs something and he wants to better his life. A woman wants to better her life. They both come together and they both bring good things to the marriage. This is what amalgamation should have been. But in our case, we, the indigenous people of the lower Niger block, nothing good came to us. So, and because the intention of those who had the power at the time was to exploit, they from the very beginning knew there was going to be a master-servant relationship. It was going to be a master-servant union. It was not going to be a union of equals. So we didn't know this. Our forefathers didn't know this. Now, before Lugard became governor, there was his boss at the time was somebody called Lord Lewis Vernon Harcourt. That's the man by whom Port Harcourt is named. So he was the British Secretary of the colonies in the early decades of the 20th century. So in 1913, he claimed something that some of us would already have read. And this is just before the amalgamation for us to understand what it was about. So, and I'll read out what he had said. He said, "We have released northern Nigeria," that was the Northern Protectorate, "from the leading strings of the treasury." The treasury would be the British money because Britain was paying and they thought, oh, we don't want Britain to pay anymore. Let the south of Nigeria pay. So let me go back. "We have released northern Nigeria from the leading strings of the treasury. The promising and well-conducted youth is now on an allowance on his own and is about to effect an alliance with a southern lady of means. I have issued the special license and Sir Frederick Lugard will perform the ceremony. May the union be fruitful and the couple constant." So they knew that there was a Southern lady of means, and that means the South. So they knew from the start that the South had the assets of this territory. And these plans that Harcourt said, it's actually built right into today's 1999 constitution that Nigeria operates. So some of us may say, oh, it's in the past, we don't care about the past. But the past is affecting your life today. It's because of that decision and that plan and that agenda that the British had is why our bloc is the way it is today. Now, before the 1999 Constitution, we had the military decrees, and the military decrees did exactly the same thing, which is they knew that the assets of this country was in the South, particularly the lower Niger bloc, and those in power wanted it for themselves. That means they wanted to rob the indigenous people of what belongs to them. And the military decrees was the instrument they used at the time. And today it's the 1999 Constitution that is being used. Now, the British, they knew that the assets were in the South, as I said, specifically in the lower Niger bloc. And the lower Niger bloc is what we call today South-South and Southeast. We've got the coastline, and there were plenty of fish and seafood. Then we have hardwoods, things like guaria, ebony. These are woods that last forever and ever. And Europe uses that for pianos, for building their houses. So we had woods, we had rubber, and we know what you do with rubber, tires for vehicles and all sorts of things. We have clay, and you use clay for pottery. We had crude oil and gas, etc. Now, Lugard, he left his position of governor in 2019. So his amalgamation, he did it for about 5 years. And as he left, the British did a report to sort of assess what he had done, to analyze, and because Nigeria was now a new country that had been amalgamated. So the report did not say anything good. Now, we didn't know about it, but now we do. And I'll quote, Sir Frederick, so that would be Lugard, has earned the notorious distinction of being the originator of a system of government, the product of his exuberant imagination, entitled the Nigerian system. That system has, in the pregnant words of ex-Judge Stoker, been described as a setback to a condition of things resembling the barbarous ages. What they're saying is that Lord Lugard, he created this thing called the Nigerian system, and it was planned and it was so bad. And they said that he uses imagination, wild imagination, exuberant. But the effect is that Nigeria would be a land of barbarians. What is a barbarian? It's an ancient Roman term for the wild tribes of Europe, because the Romans in those days were kind of civilized. They had the empire. So the Germans and the Franks, the French and the British, they saw them as barbarian and uncouth. But essentially, in the 20th century, that word would be a land of people who are sort of cruel and kind of corrupt, okay? So that was what the Nigerian system was going to produce. And essentially, it is a system that turns things upside down. So what would have been good, they make it bad, and then they make the bad things to be good. So some young people will be wondering, why is Nigeria so corrupt? Why can't we get rid of the corruption? It was planned to be that way. And the way that Lugard managed it is that he had 3 pillars in this Nigerian system. ignorance, fear, and military terrorism. So it's a trinity. It's an unholy trinity. And it's what they use to keep Nigeria going. And Nigeria is known and famous for mediocrity, falsehood and dishonesty, and corruption. These are all planned, and it was what somebody desired. Some of us may be saying, are these people mad? Well, yeah, they were. It is a madness, but sadly, they have the power to do it. And as we see, they have achieved it. Now, we're here to talk about the foundation, but the good thing is that there is good news. We have a solution, and we have a very good way out of all of this. And that is why, you hear young people saying, that these politicians and these civil servants, they go abroad, their children are abroad, that they know what it's like to be in the West. Electricity is there, good roads, trains, and everything. Why don't they do something similar in Nigeria? Well, they're not going to do something similar in Nigeria because of this Nigerian system. The only thing they're going to do in Nigeria is to spread ignorance, fear, and military terrorism. That is the thing they have planned for all of us. I'm going to start with ignorance. And I don't want us to get upset because you're born where you're born. So it's not your fault. But I want us to understand that there is a system going on, and we need to understand the foundation so that we can get rid of it. Just like I said, that if you're not feeling well, you need to know what it is that's causing you to be ill, because when you know what's causing you to be ill, you can now address it. If you don't know, it'll kill you. So we need to know about this foundation so that we all don't get killed off, because that is actually what the plan is, so that we get killed off and then they take the resources, because it's the resources that they care about, not the people. Okay, so ignorance is one of the big things. And ignorance is two things. It is lack of education or information about a certain topic, but it's also having the wrong kind of information on a certain topic. So both of these are going on in Nigeria. And the way Nigeria has been structured, it's not going to be corrected, because they've put in systems to make sure that the least educated are the ones who are going to be in charge. We can see it in the caliber of politicians, so-called, that we have. We can see it when you go to ministry and you see the way, the DG and the heads of the ministries are behaving. You can see that they don't, they're not doing things right. You can go to a website, let's say the immigration website, because I've been on it, and then you want to know the cost of, let's say, doing a passport. There'll be a tab that this is where you should find the prices of, the passports. The cost will not be there. Why isn't it there? It's because of the caliber of people that we have in charge. Because if you were to go to, let's say, the UK or America, you get all that information on the website. So these are things that are done on purpose because they want to keep us ignorant and frustrated. Now, there is a difference between ignorance and stupidity. A very intelligent person can be ignorant. And anybody who is ignorant, you can reverse it. You reverse it by getting information. So even if somebody is ignorant, all you have to do is educate them and enlighten them, and they're okay. Stupidity is something else. So when we're using the word ignorant, we're not saying that Nigerians are stupid. We're saying that they have been deliberately denied the right kind of education. And because they've been denied that since the day they were born, there's knowledge and information they don't have. But they're not stupid at all, okay? So we need to get that clear. Now, as I said, it's not their fault. They're born into this system, and it's the system that they met. When things change in this country, because that's what we're here to do, when things change, that can be easily corrected. For children, it's kind of easy. They just go to school and you change the curriculum and you change the syllabus. But some of us who are older, we can still also correct this lack of information by having adult classes. You can go to classes in the evenings after work, and you can go to classes on the Saturday. This is what happens all the time in the West. I've been to adult classes. It'll be like in a primary school, not in secondary schools, because in secondary schools, the students would still be used in the secondary school, even after school. But if it's a primary school, you use the classrooms and the adults do the learning that way. So these things can be easily rectified. Plus also you have the internet. There's so many free courses on the internet, and you have YouTube. So once we go to our new destination, we're going to have constant electricity, we're going to have proper network, things like that. So all this ignorance will be relatively easily corrected. It's only those who don't want to learn who will remain the way they are. But anybody who wants to learn, not a problem, okay? So I want you to feel hopeful about that. Now, ignorance was promoted because of this Nigerian system, and it became the standard you need to succeed. So you don't really need to have a brain. All you need to do is to get yourself, into a position where you can steal money, steal public money, either as a civil servant, top civil servant, or as a politician, things like that. And it became the norm. And one of the key ways is the quota system. We can see how it does not favor the people of our block at all. If you want to go to university and you want to read, let's say medicine or law, if you're from the lower Niger block, you need to get a higher grade in your exams than somebody from Arawa. So you see, so let's just say it's law. So the person from Arawa who has a low grade, hasn't got really the ability, that person becomes a lawyer, while you yourself, you're not a lawyer at all. So you can see the kind of caliber of lawyers we're going to have. They're not going to be the best people in the country like it would have been, let's say, in a country where the systems were fair. So that's the Nigerian system at work. And this was done on purpose because Lord Lugard, he saw us, the indigenous people, as the natives. So they wanted to keep the natives down, because when the natives are ignorant, it'll be easier to take their resources. And some of the things that then came in to also keep us down is that people then realize, oh my goodness, I want, how am I going to get on in this Nigeria? So even though the people were not bad, they then began to do bad things. So things like exam malpractice came in because people were thinking, oh, in this struggle, oh, what do we do? So it began to change the whole environment of Nigeria, because this has been going on for several decades. So all these are to make sure that we are ignorant. If we look at the United Nations recommendation, they say that for a country, they need to have about 25%. So that's 1/4 of their budget needs to go for education. That's the minimum. So you can even have 30%, 35% if you want, but the minimum should be 25%. That's 1/4. The Nigerian system, they're not interested in education for the indigenous people. So education would get like 5%. And out of the 5%, there'll be a lot of mismanagement. That means corruption, stealing that money as well. So education in Nigeria is deliberately underfunded to make it nearly as good as nothing. You'll have things, rooms that they will call a science lab. But in the science lab, there's no equipment. There's no Bunsen burner. There'll be no electricity. You need reagents. If let's say you're doing chemistry, the reagents are the chemicals that you mix, A plus B, and you need the equipment to like test tubes and things. They won't have them. So how is the young person going to do science? So all these things are done deliberately, part of this desire to keep us ignorant. And it went over the years so that people then got used to it. People got used to it. And then they started saying things like, oh, I've got my certificate. I'm, a chemist, or I'm a physicist, or I'm a biologist. Meanwhile, yes, they've gotten that certificate in the Nigerian university, but Nigeria is also part of the world. So you have to compare the level of education with what goes on with the rest of the world. And when you compare it with the rest of the world, because of the lack of equipment and the lack of electricity, even sometimes lack of water and the whole environment, you'll see that the education in Nigeria is then inferior. So somebody with, let's say, a degree in physics in Nigeria, he would not have had access to the equipment that somebody who's got a degree in physics in Germany would have. You see? So these things, this is part of the ignorance that they're bringing into the society, and it's all done deliberately. Then what they've done with Nigerians is they've put music, give them a lot of music, let them be singing and dancing all the time. So no education, but a lot of music. And that helps to keep the people ignorant. And music is something they have used quite a lot on African people, because Africans were taken as slaves to the Americas and the Caribbean. And the owners, the white owners, they loved it when the Black people were singing, because when you're singing, you're not thinking. So they loved it when the people were in the field picking cotton, picking tobacco, and singing. But if the people were quiet, that would frighten the white slave owners, because when you're quiet, it means that the people are thinking. And it could be that they're thinking about how to set themselves free. So the white slave masters would order the Black folk to begin to sing. So you'll find that in Nigeria, there's a lot of music, music, music. Even I find it hard to concentrate. All the neighbors around, boom, 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 boom. So if you want to think and learn something, you're going to find it very hard, because they've created an environment, music, music, music. And you'll see that also on TV, Nigerian TV, music, singing, dancing. That means the people are not thinking. Compare it with German TV. Let's say German Deutsche Welle, DW, no music. Or if there's music, then it must be when I'm sleeping. They have history, geography, technology. They have things to grow the mind. The same for Chinese TV. Hardly, I don't see any music on Chinese TV. Again, it's technology. It's things to grow and stretch the brain. The same for French TV. But you'll find Nigerian TV and African TV, a lot of music, boom, 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 boom. And also the environment, boom, 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 boom. The churches, boom, 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 boom. So once you're in that environment, as I said, very difficult to think, very difficult to, if let's say you want to invent things and analyze things, the environment will not allow you. It's all part of that environment to keep the people ignorant. So music, singing means you're not thinking. Yeah, I'm not saying that singing is bad, but when you have it to the extent that we have it, and you can actually check it for yourself and watch foreign TV like Deutsche Welle, DW, and you will not see the singing and dancing like we have. So these are, planned. All these things are planned. And the people in the world, they're watching, what is wrong with Nigerians, that they do well when they're outside Nigeria? What is going on? Because they didn't realize that it is the Nigeria system. And right now it is the caliphate. So that would be the Fulani elite who are behind the 1999 constitution and the systems that be in Nigeria. And you can see that it's them, because they are the ones who don't want proper democracy to happen. Because democracy means that the people use their power. So they get politicians and civil servants and influencers to keep on using dividends of democracy or nascent democracy. But we know it's a lie. It's all to keep the people ignorant. There's zero democracy in Nigeria. And you cannot have democracy when the constitution is a forgery. Okay, it just cannot. and volley were here to tell you the truth. So because of this state of ignorance that they have put in all of us, when foreigners come here, you'll see that the foreigner will be the one in charge, while the Nigerian with a similar certificate will be the errand boy, because they've made sure that the quality of education in Nigeria is substandard. I'll tell you a personal story. I'm from one of the villages in Anyoma in Delta State, and we have a polytechnic. And I go to a certain garden center because I like talking to the guy there, and it's nice and pleasant. So one day while I was sitting there, this young lady came and I began to chat with her. She's a student at the Polytechnic. She was a freshman. She was new. So she would have started in September, October. This is like January, February. And she was so upset because she came to the Polytechnic to learn, and there was hardly any equipment. And she was telling me how her parents had struggled to get her there. And there she is, she's willing to learn. And the way she's talking, she's got the brains and all, but the equipment is not there. All this is deliberate. So this is what I'm trying to say. So she'll get the certificate at the end, but she won't have the practical experience because she wouldn't have seen the equipment. And so if you haven't seen it, you don't know how to use it. So when a foreigner with an equal certificate who has seen the machinery and the equipment, they will then be her boss. And it'll be because the Nigerian system has done this to make sure that the indigenous people are lower than people in the rest of the world. And it is all done deliberately because they have their eyes on our assets, on the riches of our land. And when you don't educate people anywhere, it's got nothing to do with skin color or religion, you actually make them to be slaves because they won't know anything about the world. They won't know anything about the environment. And if they do know, it could be the wrong information and it's not going to help them. And that's why God himself, he knows that a state of ignorance is dangerous. And he said, my people perish from a lack of knowledge. That's in Hosea 4 verse 6. So even God himself is saying that we need knowledge. So I've spent a lot of time on ignorance because that is a biggie in Nigeria. And the next thing that they use is fear. When you don't have information, you're going to be fearful. So it also keys in. You know, if you know, let's just say there's a certain animal that I see, and I don't know anything about the animal. All I know, it's not looking like a human. I'm going to be frightened. But if I had knowledge that that animal eats only plants, and that animal is actually scared of human beings, I would just pass by and not do anything, you see? So ignorance can produce fear. You don't know what's going on. You don't know about this. You don't know about that. And you can't solve your problems because you don't have the information that you need to solve problems, okay? So it's not that you're stupid. It's just that you don't have the information. So the lack of education aids, it helps to produce that fear. But what they've also done is that they've put a system in Nigeria to actually make sure that the fear is deep. So for today, there's lack of civil liberties. You want to go on a peaceful protest, the DSS will begin to start threatening and make you fearful. Then you'll have pictures of police officers with CS spray or tear gas. They'll have tear gas, guns and everything to make you fearful. So people will say, oh, I'd like to go on a protest, peaceful protest. I don't want to damage anything. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to go on a protest because I want electricity. I want my university to have equipment. Then you have the DSS, who is the leader? We're going to arrest you. We're going to shut down your bank account. All this kind of carrying on. This is all done on purpose so that Nigerians will be fearful. And then everybody, oh, I better just hide under the bed. Oh, I better do what Njuku, in my language, Njuku, the big people. I better do what the big people say. And okay, this is part of the fear that has been there deliberately put. And it has become so much a part of Nigerians that when people are talking and we have a problem and somebody will offer a solution, quick, somebody else will say, the people of the North, they won't agree. The people of the North, they won't allow us. You see, fear, that fear, it is something that has been put there deliberately, and it creates a defeatist attitude. So before you even start working out the solution, you've already said, it's not going to work. They're going to kill me. And then we stay in that wretchedness and that slavery. And the only thing we think about is, how can I get to China? How can I get to Japan? How can I get to Dubai? How can I get to England? As I said, we have a solution and there is a way out now. Then the last of the three legs of the foundation of Nigeria is the military will be a terror. You know, in the UK, you see soldiers or whatever, they're minding their business, you know, they don't bother you. But in Nigeria, they're used, you know, to scare everybody with their gun. Just the sight of them with their gun is to put fear in us. And recently, in our area, in the Igbo part of the lower Niger block, there was some hoodlums from, you know, the information we're getting is from a fake Freedom Party. They were told by their leader to start killing police officers and damaging police stations. So after they committed those crimes, what should have happened? Because I'm a retired Metropolitan Police officer, so I'm a retired London police officer, so I know these things. What should have happened is that the criminal justice system kicks in. The criminal justice system means that the police, we do the investigation, we do the arrests, and we take that person to court. Then from the court, if that person is found guilty, they'll go to the prison. So that's the criminal justice system. It's the police, the courts, and the prisons. They are the ones who should have dealt with this situation. But in Nigeria, they want to frighten everybody with the military. They took a military approach, and it is not a military approach. It is a criminal justice approach. So had that been in the UK, there's no way soldiers would have come in. It would have been the police. So these are all the things that happen in Nigeria to keep us enslaved and fearful and ignorant. And Sani Abacha's daughter, Gumsu, she quoted her dad. She said that if insurgency lasts for more than 24 hours, the government has a hand in it, okay? And so here we have all this insurgency. We've got Boko Haram, we've got Fulani herdsmen militia, we've got all sorts of things going on. According to Abacha, who was a military man, he's saying that if it lasts more than 24 hours, that's a day, it means that the government is behind it. And if you do the research and you go on Google, different international NGOs plus the US government, everybody is saying that the federal government of today is not playing its part in getting rid of terrorism, that they're more or less standing and watching, okay? So this is all part of it. We're terrorized. You know, you want to go from Lagos to, let's say, Asaba, by road, because they've made sure we don't have the trains, yeah? They've made sure, and the planes a plane ticket is so expensive. Imagine husband and wife and the 3 children. Who can afford a return ticket like that? Yeah, that's even if they pay them the salary. So we now have to go by road. And then people are thinking, are we going bandit? It should not be like that. In the West, you can go from London, drive from London. Okay, at some point you're going to have to take the Channel Tunnel or you take a ferry, and then you can get onto the way to Russia. No problem. You're not going to be thinking about terrorists and all these things. So what is going on in Nigeria is something that is wrong, and it should not be happening. And it is because they want people to be like this, so that we'll be frightened and do nothing. Eat every day and have children. Eat every day and have children, nothing else. No light, no university, nothing. Have children. And, you know, sort of like animal level, yeah? Sorry to say that, you know, like goats, that's what goats do. They eat and then they have children, right? And that's what they want to do to us. And we're going to reject it, and we've rejected it, and it's going to end. and we have a solution. So that is what I'm going to talk about right now, the solution. The solution has been it is the self-determination organization for our bloc. It is the experts there who've devised it. And they started from 1990, after the 1999 Constitution was given to us, and then when it was eventually printed, because when Obasanjo was sworn in as president at the time, it hadn't even been printed. So when it was eventually printed and they had to look at it, some of them are lawyers with expertise in jurisprudence. That means some knew that it's going to steal the resources of our Niger bloc, and we are going to be caged up and slaved up. So they began to find a way to get rid of that constitution that we never made. And the solution is we need to decommission it. Decommission means get rid of it, put it in the dustbin, tear it up. We didn't make it. It's not really a constitution. It's a document that somebody put the name 1999 Constitution, but it's not a real one. It's a fraud. And we can do the research. You can go to Lower Niger Congress website and Facebook site, and you can find all this evidence. So devise the plan, and it is the constitutional force majeure. It is a legal term, but that's what it is, a non-violent, orderly process, because we want order. We want everybody to be alive. We don't want chaos, to get rid of that constitution. And South Africa got rid of the constitution that the Black people there didn't make, so we can get rid of ours as well. And that constitution is how they brought in this poison into our system to keep us ignorant, fearful, and for the military to be a terror on us. So Lower Niger Congress are the experts. They've done the paperwork for us, but we don't just lie there and do nothing and wait for somebody else to do everything for us. It doesn't happen that way. They have created the pathway. It's kind of like, Moses. He sort of, well, with God's help, he created the pathway through the Red Sea. But Moses did not carry the Hebrews on his back. The Hebrews had to do the walking themselves. They had to carry their children and carry their belongings. You and I have to do the same. The pathway has been created, but you and I have to walk down it, carrying our children, taking our belongings, because Lower Niger Congress is not going to carry us on their back. But that is the solution. It is this constitutional force majeure, which is to decommission the 1999 Constitution. And its destination, we know it. They have it on their website. They have it on different Facebook sites. The destination is self-determination. That means freedom and independence for all the ethnic nations in our bloc. So Ijaw will have self-determination in Ijaw land. Igbo will have, Igbo nation will have self-determination in Igbo land. Ogoni nation will have self-determination on Ogoni land. Can you see? So that is the destination, which is the freedom we had before the Europeans and the Fulani came. And that's what we're going to get. And our destination is a proposed Lower Niger Federation, where each ethnic nation comes in their name. So no funny names, no fake names. Igbo is Igbo, Ijaw is Ijaw, Anang is Anang. We come with our unique identity. Nobody is going to take anybody's identity from them. We are proud of our history and our culture. We come with our unique identities. We have self-determination in our ancestral land. We have resource control in our ancestral land. It is the beautiful destination for us to get rid of these evil plans that is enshrined in the 1999 Constitution. And Lower Niger Congress with the NINAS movement has got it all sorted out for us. They've got the strategy. We have to listen to them, key into it, and play our part. That's it. So that is me done for today. I've given you the information that I have. You can still do your additional research with the words that I've said, you know, like Lower Niger Congress, you put a Google search and you find their website, their Facebook site. Constitutional force majeure, we have a website. It's www.freedomfromnigeria.com. We've got another website, www.ninasffn.org. So if you know, you can go to these websites and get more information. All right. I'm wondering, are there any questions? I can't see any questions. That's good. When there are no questions, it means that everybody's understood everything. Either that or that nobody's watching. All right. Well, I can't see any questions, and it's 7:48. So I think I shall say ciao, bye-bye. And just to remind us that there is a pathway, we have a solution. No panic.
I think you have some guests. Some guests. So if they really want to ask questions, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. I can see some guests in the platform. So if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. We still have some time before it is 1 hour. Yeah.
All right, I can't see any guests on my system. So yes, if there's anybody out there and you have a question.
Father Cosmas Ajawara here, and I also have Father Ray Chukwemeka here.
All right. Okay, if they have a question, they should say it now. Otherwise, I will end the show. Because it's actually good when you don't have questions in a way sometimes. And, you know, it's their first time seeing me. So they also need to get used to me as well. All right, I can see no questions. I can hear no questions. I think that we can end it here. Okay, well, so today, is that a question coming?
Hello, Andy, this is Father Raymond.
Oh, hello, hello.
Yeah, I don't have any question, just to say thank you for presenting this important topic, and I pray people will listen to it and digest it, and if they have any question, I believe they will find a way of asking their question on when you share the speech. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for educating us.
You're welcome. Yes, we have the Facebook page, the Volley Media Facebook page, so you can ask questions there and they will get answered. All right, thank you. And till the next time, which will be on Friday, it'll be at 8 p.m. Homeland time. Okay, so Friday, 8 p.m. Homeland time is the next Volley Live show. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye-bye.